what is your opinion on private transport service, Uber and taxi, here in Brazil and in the world, and here in Recife?
Taxi!
As it happens in other countries and capitals, the service and application Uber, which arrived in Brazil in 2014, is raising inquiries and discussions between managers, drivers, and consumers. In Recife, it began to operate in March. Since then, a storm of recurring protests from both sides happens. But before raising the problems, let's get to know the service. Uber is an application for mobile users that sets out the direct contact between passengers' cars with conductors. The flagship of the service are the black cars that offers rides at a lower cost than a common taxi and customized service. The company demands the drivers to always make available water to customers in all cars. Depending on the selected service, drivers may also provide energy drinks, candy, and etc. Cars are divided by category. The Uber Black is the most expensive and complete service. All cars are black sedans with maximum of 3 years of use. Air conditioner must be on all time, and water and candy must be available free for passengers. Oh, and the driver must open the door for you in the beginning and end of the trip. On the other hand, UberX is a cheaper service, but also provides only drivers selected by the company. The difference beyond a lower price than the Black is the vehicle may have lower standard, as for example a Volkswagen CrossFox. Here in Recife, the category X is more present. The ride base value is R$2.50.
Taxi!
Taxis is a car designed for the transportation of passengers and equipped with a taximeter. It's an optional public transport, but with higher values. The taxis are as old as the civilization, and nowadays the tax system is included in the largest cities on earth. Most of the Brazil and the world, taxis work through licenses emitted by the government. In Rio de Janeiro, these licenses can cost R$6,000, for example. So, do not just only have a car to a person interested in becoming a taxi driver. They need the vehicle has a specific license. For those who cannot or do not want to spend on a license, they can choose to work with a fleet of taxi. Taxi fleets are vehicles of taxi companies that are available for taxi drivers in return for payment of a daily, weekly, or monthly value.
Uber is being banned temporarily in Recife because the Mayor Geraldo Júlio declared that there is a federal law in Brazil where the individual passenger transport is only allowed to taxi drivers. So, the taxi drivers continue to protest against the Uber drivers, and recently they delivered a document requesting the town hall for inspection of Uber by the competent bodies.
Many Uber drivers have been trained by taxi drivers who complained of unfair competition because Uber drivers aren't paying the same taxes as the taxi drivers to be allowed of carrying out passengers. The taxi drivers say who is right licensed to provide driving doesn't have conditions to compete with who is wrong.
Uber is available in over 66 countries and 507 cities worldwide, and still growing month by month. But Uber hasn't actually reached it in all states of the US, which is the country where Uber was founded. Part of this is about legal reasons. Many local cities and states don't feel Uber is regulated enough and has banned them until agreements on new regulations come into play. The legality of Uber has been challenged by governments and taxi companies who allege that its use of drivers who are not licensed to drive taxicabs is unsafe, is illegal. Some taxi driver unions have called Uber drivers pirate taxis.
Figuring out a solution that covers this new business like it was present before isn't easy. One way to change this scenario is to create a new transportation vehicle class, the transportation at work companies, like it was done in the United States. This term is being used to describe services that connect passengers to drive-through apps, where the companies aren't the vehicle owners, neither the driver employers, like Uber. Another way to regulate Uber is to create new rules that includes this new kind of business, like it was done in Mexico. In this country, these rules cover some obligations like a minimal value price for the vehicles and a tax of 1.5% for each run. The government claims that this tax is gonna be used to improve the taxi services in the country. Nevertheless, these rules didn't stop the protests of taxi drivers against Uber. Uber has been regulated in the Philippines since May 2015 to the creation of some rules which, for example, made the use of GPS mandatory and made the drivers pay an annual fee to a governmental regulatory agency. José Emilio Abaya, the Transportation Secretary of Philippines, said that Uber is very necessary to cover a lack of mass transportation in Manila, capital of Philippines. The solution isn't clear enough, but we hope that in some years this problem has been solved and the passengers will have good options to choose.